Just fucking do it. Subscribe now. Cokehead, always in trouble, always let out. And then this time, when they arrested him for a psychotic event, they took him, they were transferring him from the jail part of the hospital to the regular part, and he pulled the gun out of the sheriff or somebody's, and shot the sheriff first, the nurse, and he was sitting right back there where the Belgian Dutchman was sitting, and his buddy was sitting right where Francis was sitting, and they were in the car wash business, if you remember. The last deal he did was a family office from Kentucky, friends of his great-grandfather, and it's nicest private equity deal I've ever, I mean, sweetheart deal. Not as good as the deals that Peter Veracity did, but it was nice, gentlemanly, you know? And he was complaining about he wanted to fuck the private equity guys. He wouldn't admit, maybe that's 9 months later, car wash is dead. They're dead. The risk profile is gone. But, you know, he wouldn't buy that. And he just shot him because he was crazy. He goes to court in 2 or 3 months. I would imagine they're going to buy the jury and or the judge. That's just one man's opinion. And he'll get away with it and he'll go do it again. No. Nobody died. Nobody died. And then supposedly, he said, now that you mentioned that, I wish I'd killed, and the guard was black. I wish I killed the, you know, the black so-and-so. Most of these guys, that's why I don't believe in rehabilitation. They rehabilitate enough to get by the parole board. And I've been doing this a long, long time. And my dad was in law enforcement 40, 50 years. And I'm a licensed criminologist, federally licensed. It is all horseshit. And now you got to steal so much that you don't go to jail. They just let out 3,100 people out of jail here in the UK because the jails are too crowded. And some guys just went and robbed the store for over 1,000 pounds so they could go back to jail. They just went directly. They let them off at the bus depot or the train station. They just went in and stole enough and waited there for the police to come and arrest them. Because it'll be tough to get, you know, a warm blanket and 3 solid meals, you know, homeless. And then, of course, we put the homeless in. Our bill is 31 million pounds a day about for putting the migrants in hotels a day here in Britain. 31 million a day. Which, it's just that the world's upside down. California's upside down, you know? A friend of mine was in an outside restaurant on Rodeo Drive February, March this year, and some guy came around robbing people from their watches and stuff like that. Of course, Madonna's bodyguard got shot somebody here maybe a year ago. They were trying to steal her dogs. Daylight, broad fucking daylight. And she gave him $500,000 for he got shot too, though. But world's fucked up. I mean, it's fucked up. You can buy, you know, anything. Fuck somebody. Stick your dick in somebody's hole. That's all I'm asking. Get your fucking willy wet someplace. And you figure out the rest later, on-the-job training. But that scares you. Anything else? We're going to hear different people today, but we're going to do goals and affirmations. EJ? The goals and affirmations. Now remember, when I was setting my goals up 50 years ago, Mount Rushmore, I expected to be there. For Americans, you know where that is. Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, and Peña. I didn't have a pot to piss in, nor a window to throw it out of. But I had a big fucking mouth, which unfortunately nobody in this room's got. Now, the best castle, thank you, gold time sequence that I've had, other than Obama saying he's going to be president, and John Kennedy saying we're going to put a man on the moon, bring him back safely, is this, mine. In April 1983, I'm reading the Robb Report. And I used to give you a year subscription, but you use it for doormats, so I don't do that anymore, okay? But I would highly recommend you subscribe to the Robb Report. In the back of the Robb Report, on the back page, there was castles for sale on islands off the west coast of Scotland. I said, okay, that's it. So on my 20-mile run that day, Saturday, I used to run from my house to Disneyland, have lunch, and run back 40 miles every Saturday. This is shortly after I discovered I had nothing but slow twitch muscles, and they were good for long-distance running. I went to look at castles in the UK on Thanksgiving 1983. That's the same year that I was on the front page of the LA Times and got a Pulitzer Prize for being the richest Latino in Mexico, richest Mexican in America. I bought a UK subsidiary from a large US company in a totally unrelated transaction. The guy called me on New Year's Eve, remember? In New Year's Eve 1983, I visited the UK spring of 84 and decided while in the UK, no spreadsheets, no research, no Google, no nothing. I decided there was a huge opportunity for Great Western to go public. And at that time, Great Western had 0 assets. 0. Didn't have a bank account. No credits or debits. I went back to the US and found something to go public. But before I left, I hired the best lawyers, the best accountants, the best everybody to represent me. And remember, Freshfield said, we represent the Queen of England, the Bank of England, the Church of England, and Dan Peña. So I had the creme de la creme. I went public on August 10th, 84, my birthday, 39th birthday. I made the final offer on the castle in August of 84, and I moved into the castle September 1, 84, so I've been here a little over 40 years. And then, at that time, Sotheby's did not disclose. I know the difference between rising damp, wet rot, dry rot. I mean, everything was wrong. Plumbing was from 1848. I mean, the pipes were collapsing. We got frozen in here. And so I discovered we had ghosts. And this is the worst investment I ever made, this property. Although it's gone up in value 10, 20 times. I don't know how many times, but a bunch. But we have full-time plumber, full-time electrician, because every day, who's the day that the plumbing got fucked up in the room? Who? Yeah, okay. You probably deserved it anyway. So, but something goes wrong every day. Every motherfucking day, something's broken. I've never kept track in 40 years how much I've reinvested, but it's on the tens of millions. It's $100,000 a month just to keep the lights on. Pounds sterling. But anyway, I'm here. We're here. But if it wasn't for we had this pavilion, I couldn't have done the Corona, etc., etc. Okay, and I moved in September. Okay, this all took about 99 days. 99 days. And then we came back to the United States, and I found 12 or 13 million barrels of proved reserve, not proved producing reserve, proved. Okay? Just like you think that, this oil is not, anyway. And the reserve report would have told you, when you go home, find out who did the reserve report. You should know, they would have known, just like you took a piss this morning if there's water. I mean, this is so fundamental. This is an aside, it's got nothing to do with anybody else other than him. This is so fundamental, oil exploration. You heard me yelling at you in the room, right? I mean, this is like not oil gas 101. This is whatever, oil gas for dummies. That's not possible. Would you explain to me it's not possible without them knowing? So you got fucked. Okay. So I found something to go public, and I gave the guy $60,000. I maxed out my credit cards, 60 grand. I say, I'll come back and give you $1,940,000. And I think I had an 18-month option. Then I took that option back to the United Kingdom with all these high-priced people. And I took it public. And the first time in the history of the world was somebody took something public they didn't know. Then I ran to Amsterdam. And I knew I could get it done there. And I did. And the process that took me 99 days in the UK took me 7 days in Amsterdam. So whatever the work they did in 99 days, they did in 7 days. And several bottles of Old Geneva, which is a drink I like to drink when I'm in the Netherlands. 7 days. And the excuse that they used then, and probably still now, the reason why we got it done so quickly is because, of course, the London Stock Exchange had done it first. I'm not sure they read a paper. I'm not sure they looked at the reserve. I'm not sure they did a fuck all anything. But we were floated again a second time. Now I'm running now to go to Hong Kong, and I'm on the plane, and they make it illegal what I did. So I couldn't do it a third time. But I'd still be going around the stock exchange at almost 80, hitting the cash register for 100 or 200 million every time for myself. Boom, boom, boom. Now you'd still be studying it. You'd be spreadsheeting it. Because there were rumors all over the place that it should be illegal. I don't know how Peña got away with it. You'd still be studying it. And then when I landed in Hong Kong, I wasn't heartbroken, but I was pissed that I couldn't do it a third time. And that's how these guys work. Now, tonight, wait a minute, where's the rest? Okay. Tonight you're going to put your list together, compile. When I say everything you want, I don't mean everything you want like you need a new suit or a new pair. I don't mean that. But I mean the substantial things in your life that you want that you don't have yet. You can convert that want list into a goal list. You can convert your goals into affirmations, which we're going to show you how to do. We're going to begin each affirmation with the words I am. Add an emotion word to each affirmation. You're going to write each affirmation in the present tense using a verb that ends in ing. Moving forward, I'll come back to this later for you if you need it. You're going to say, excuse me, each affirmation loud at least twice a day. We have some of the students that are up there that say their affirmations 5, 10, 20 times a day. That wasn't me. Because in the afternoon, I was normally drunk because I drank so much. And then I'd suffer when I'm going to bed, and I'd say them again. And there's all kinds of data, which I didn't know about any of this, that your mind is more susceptible to this kind of thing early in the morning, blah, 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 when you're in the something zone, and later. That's all horseshit. I don't know any of that. I just did it. And I know, but one up there, they all do their affirmations. If one of your wants is to increase your net worth by 5 million every month, then you turn it into a goal by writing it down on your goal list as I want to increase my net worth 5 million every month. Blah, blah, blah. Now, we have people increasing their net worth 50 million a month. We have people increasing their net worth 100 million a month. Because your subconscious doesn't know you're full of shit. It doesn't know. I know you're full of shit because I've been with you 4 days. But your subconscious doesn't. The affirmation would be, I am happy and easily increasing the amount of my net worth by 5 million or more each and every month. The phrase I am sends a command to your subconscious so that it can work on this goal for you, even while you're asleep. The terms happily and easily tell your subconscious, which again doesn't know you're full of shit, that you will not struggle to accomplish this. You may want to use another term that will help you experience the emotions of increased amounts in savings. The present tense word increasing creates a stress between that, what you are saying, and reality so that your subconscious acts with a sense of urgency to make this happen. The or more is important also because when you realize how easy it is to increase 5 million a month, you may want to immediately raise that amount. These two little words will have already sent the message to your subconscious, and you will reach that monthly amount quicker. The best times to say the affirmations are in the morning when you get up and in the evening just before you go to bed. By saying them at night, you're commanding your subconscious to work on them while you're asleep. By saying them in the morning, you give your subconscious the opportunity to present a report what it did while you're asleep. The increased focus you experience as a result of this simple activity will produce phenomenal results. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, now, athletes have been doing affirmations since the first Olympiad, 2,000 years ago. Who was the quarterback at Denver that won the Super Bowl in overtime the third time? Elway. He had an affirmation since he's 6 years old that he was going to win a Super Bowl in overtime from a pass he threw. What he didn't know, it was going to be the third Super Bowl. We've had guys here, Hall of Famers. The one guy I'm going to give the example happened to be a double graduate from Harvard, that when he was an all-star baseball player in California, they went to the state finals. That was the goal of the team, to go to the state finals. They lost 2-1. It was only to go to the state finals, not win the state finals. Next year, goals changed and went to the state finals. They won 4-3. An Olympian to be an Olympian. He trained all his life to be a bicycle. Not to win a gold medal. Not to win any medal. 3 Olympics, no medals. I can go on and on and on. But this is, other than Obama and NASA, this is. And it is even greater than any of my kids. You know how many people, and these, by the way, these are under the skin goals. You're not telling anybody. You're not telling your old lady, you flop her over on her fucking stomach, you can fuck her in the ass. Nobody. These are personal. Because you know what they're going to say when you tell them? They're going to laugh at you. And because you're a cunt, and you got no self-esteem and no self-confidence, and you got thin skin, you'll give up. You'll give up. Are you stretching or? Yeah. I'll go back to the beginning. Is that the beginning? Yeah. Yeah. Tell me when you want me to flip it. Any questions about this? What's that? Release Your Brakes. Yes, I'm very familiar with the book.
Yeah, I read the chapters on, he basically says how to write your goals and your affirmations. Of course, half of mine went out the window yesterday. You know?
Okay. Okay. I mean, Jim Newman he's one of the only 2 high-performance guys I've ever known that wasn't an asshole. He and John Wooden from UCLA. Now, how do I know guys like this? I made it my business to know guys like this. That's why. Pardon? Correct. You know, Bunker Hunt, God rest his soul, Bunky, as his friends called him. And even though he called me Mr. Peña, I called him Bunky. He picks me up at the Dallas airport. His wife picks us up at DFW airport. And we're standing out there with all the poor people waiting, you know, and I thought a limo was going to come. And anyway, and she comes in and she's driving a 1977 Oldsmobile station wagon. 77. And Bunky is so big, he filled up the whole back seat. And so he weighed about 350, 450, something like that. So I'm sitting in the front seat next to his wife who's driving. And she says, "Oh, Mr. Peña, I'm embarrassed that I had to pick you up." And he says, "No, Mrs. Hunt, that's fine, I understand." And so Bunker Hunt's father founded the West Texas oil field in Texas and became a gazillionaire. And there's 2 offshoots of the Hunt family because the grandfather had 2 families, one in Louisiana and one in Texas. So we're driving along and there's a crack from the upper right-hand window to the bottom left-hand window in Oldsmobile. And she says, we're hoping that there's no glass shatter. She says, but Bunky won't let me get it fixed because insurance won't fix it. So then where the radio is supposed to be, in the old days, they've got a transistor radio hanging from the mirror. And she, the music's not too good, the transistor, for those of you old enough to remember what transistor radios were. And he says, but Bunky said that the radio was overvalued, so we didn't have one in the car. Now, this would have been 1980, 81, 82, 83. So they're driving a 77, so it's about 6 years old. Fast forward about 4 or 5 years. You know who also had a 77 Oldsmobile station wagon with a crack in the glass that went from the left-hand corner to the bottom right corner? Rick Scott, Senator of Florida. You know who also had a transistor radio? Because the radio didn't add value? Rick Scott, Senator from Florida. Even you have a radio in the car. Whether it was overvalued or undervalued. Because you'd be embarrassed for people to see you had a fucking transistor radio swinging back and forth. Maybe some of you have a crack because insurance, I don't know. I'm not driving around, and if you see me, please pretend you don't know me. But I made it my business to be around these people, just like Costa Grazos, the Onassis people. I made it my business. Okay, we'll go to the second page. Questions about this? Tomorrow, we'll go through your goals and affirmations. And I stopped doing affirmations twice a day about 25 years ago, and I only do them once a day at night. Yes, sir.
Just to comment on affirmations, I did it once late at night, just before going to sleep, and I couldn't go back to sleep, so I got too excited.
That can happen. Last night, the night before last, I got up at 1 and I worked for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Last night, I woke up at about 1, and I forced myself to, instead of counting sheep, I count bedrooms in the castle, or I count bathrooms as opposed to sheep. And I walk my through kind of a virtual tour of the estate and counting that shit. We used to have farm animals, which we did up until maybe 10, 12 years ago, when I tried to be a gentleman farmer. And there's no such a thing as a gentleman farmer anyway. It's a dirty, filthy fucking business. I've calved pulled a calf out of a cow's belly. Fuck. I did that once. I wouldn't do it again. But we've tried all kinds of shit up here. We've grown shit, and we had Angus steer, prize cattle, but then when the kids found out that the cattle were going to be killed, they all died a natural death up on that hill up there. Because the kids say, no, Daddy, you can't do that. We planned once when we were going to move to someplace else. We lived in Monaco for a while. And that's a nice place, but it's like living in a fishbowl. But we can build 309 houses on the open property we have here. 309. Not taking away the golf course. And so, you have a condo on the 4th hole, like some of you may have visited or seen or like. And then as soon as I realized that there's no trespass law in Scotland. So if you have a bedroom on the ground floor, a pervert can come up and look at your wife in the bathtub, and there's nothing you can do about it. Now, I do something, but the law says you can't do anything. So I said, 309, 300 of them are going to be looking in our windows. And so I gave up that idea. I didn't need 40 or 80 million, whatever it was, that we would make off the houses. So we just forgot that. So we have a lot of raw land. Okay? I met George Bush I when he was kind of a neighbor of mine in Houston. He lived a few blocks away, but I found out that he, on Sunday after lunch, there was a malt shop, an old-time malt shop in the pharmacy, and he'd go, because he had a sweet tooth, he'd go to have a couple of chocolate malts. And then normally the Secret Service would clear it all out before you got there. But I got there before the Secret Service got there. And I stayed in the urinal until anyway he came, and then I sat down, and then we started talking, and then we, not friends, that's too strong a term, but I knew that on Sundays, and I went there several times to talk to him on Sundays, how fucked up the world was. And then I got to be friends with the president of the World Bank. And he predicted Armageddon. If you listen to those guys, I mean, the devil is already here. McNamara, the father of the Vietnam War, supposedly. And so he'd say, why are you wasting your time, Mr. Peña, getting rich? You know, some guy with one eye and a half a bionic hand is going to come and take it from you. Jesus Christ. You know. And it's all happening. It's all happening. Any questions about affirmations and goals?
Can you run through these slides? I just want to make sure I didn't miss one.
And for those of you that, you know, I want to be a billionaire. I want to make 100 million, whatever, okay. You will physically and mentally start to shut down at about 850 million, because you're and then and if you get to the billion mark, you'll fall over it unconscious. Instead of as much money as humanly possible. Numbers are a stumbling block to goals, age especially. Not by the time you're 25, 30, 50, 80, as soon as humanly possible. And we've got a lot of experiences. We've put through a lot of kids. Now, little Gabriel, you know, it's funny how he wanted 500,000 Swiss francs, and that's what the company's valued at now. In 3 years. Okay, YouTube.